Before we begin, I want to let you guys know these episodes will be coming out every single Wednesday and every single Sunday. It's every single Wednesday and every single Sunday. We have a new show coming out on Saturday. It's going to be pretty exciting. Hope you guys watch it. It's going to be pretty great. Enjoy the video. Hello again. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Tales from the Table. Yes, I have named this show. It's a pretty good name. I came up with it in about 45 seconds. We're going to see how it goes. I'm sticking with this name. I don't want to be like that one show that was on BBC, like the one that changed its name halfway through the series. That wasn't good. I don't want to be that show. So yeah, I came up with this name, and we're gonna hop right into it. So you may recall from our last episode that the three party members, Chikaleeku, Ensieo, and Argun, they escaped their home island of Chikaleeku Island in a final epic battle on the beaches. And in the course of the fight, their friend, Cheetah Winging, who had designed and built a ship for them to escape in, was shot with a bow and arrow and killed. So when the party did defeat the peacekeepers who were keeping them on the island, they took Cheetah's body with them onto the ship, and they gave him a proper burial at sea. And his last wishes were for them to head west, and they did that. They headed west. They sailed for 3 to 4 days, encountering nothing really eventful happened, until on the 4th day they saw land. And the weird thing was, there were other ships in the water, but these ships looked nothing like their ship. Their ship was an old crusty sailing ship made out of driftwood and palm bark. No, these ships that were out, they were made of steel and iron, and spewing out smokes and steams, trudging along in the waters faster than the fastest dolphins that they had seen back home. And so they encountered the ships, and they decided, well, let's go investigate. We probably won't be able to communicate with them, but we can sure try. But immediately, what happened was they went over to the ship fleet of various ships, and they started waving to them like, hey, hello. But as soon as they started waving at them, the ships, they surrounded the ship, their ship, and they were kind of blockaded in. They're like, what do we do? So their reaction was to go inside. They went and hid below decks, hoping that would get them out of danger. I don't know what was going through their heads. Whatever the case, they went and they hid below decks. They sat there for about 15 minutes, and they eventually felt like a shudder all throughout the ship's hull. And then they felt the feeling as though they were in an elevator and was rising. They looked outside, and like their ship was floating out of the water. Witchcraft, voodoo magic. But then they peeked out on the top deck and looked up, and there was this big, huge airship that had let down a crane and was hoisting their ship out of the water through some amazing feat of technology. And the airship, it took the ship, over land into the city and lowered it into what I could only describe as an impound lot for ships. Like, it was a big, massive, a body of water, artificial body of water, and it had parking spots, and it was cut off from all other bodies of water. So it was basically an impound lot for stolen or otherwise suspicious ships. And so they were lowered into this impound lot, or impound pool, you could say, and they were given, a man came onto their ship and gave them 3 books. This is very cliche, by the way. 3 books. And the books were all the same books, 3 copies of the same book, It was titled Dwarven for Dummies. And the guy gestured for them to read it, and I don't know, somehow through the rule of cool, and I don't know, the rule that the story must go on, they read the books and they became pretty good speakers of the Dwarven language. And then they were brought to jail for the second time in the entire campaign. This was still in the session 1, by the way. So for the second time in the first session, they were brought to jail. Then session 1 ended. Session 2 opened up, like with them still in jail after about a day. They were released by a prison guard, and they were put in handcuffs and escorted to the throne room of the High King, the Lord Eltor, who was the most noble and most powerful man in the entire Dwarven country. And they were brought before him, and he asked him in like the most basic language they could, "Hello, foreigners, what is your business here? What brings you here?" And they discussed in their own language, the Tikabe's language, for a while. I don't know, what are we saying? Explorers? Okay, sure. Yeah, we're explorers. We're just trying to pave our way and make our way in the ocean. And the guy's like, I don't believe that for a second. You are humans. You come from the human country and wish to plunder our riches and scout out our weak points for an invasion. Now, of course, neither the players nor the characters actually knew what this guy was talking about. What? War? Humans? No. We're just individuals who are lost. But they made an agreement. Let's not mention Chikaleeku Island yet. We don't want to put our friends in danger. So they agreed not to mention Chikaleeku Island. They said, "No, but please, we're honest. We're not trying to do any harm to you." And he thought about it for a moment. He said, "Okay, you don't look like soldiers, so I'm gonna cut you a deal. All right? Either you can stay in a prisoner of war camp for the rest of your lives, or you can work for us and do everything that we have, that you have, that we tell you to do." And they gave each other like that, that look of like, I don't know, should we? Looked around, and they're like, all right, probably a better alternative than to just wasting away in prison. And so the king brought out a scribe, and the scribe drew up a letter really quick, or a contract really quick, and it said, "You will submit to the king and do his bidding." And they each signed it, in their blood. They're gonna keep this promise. They're gonna do whatever the king tells them to do, on their honor. And the king's like, "All right, great. So we see your ship is not in the greatest shape. So we're gonna have you modify it a little bit, make it more worthy of our navy." And so they head to their ship, and their ship is taken out of the impound lot, and it's brought to a tune-up place. Now, in my campaign, there is the ship tune-up places. There's a chain of them, a very successful chain. It's called Salty Sylvia's Seafaring Supplies, and this chain exists everywhere in the world, and it's the most successful seafaring supplies store there is. And so they walk in and like, "Hey guys, we need some upgrades for our ship." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So they get some. I have a whole, over on my bookshelf, I have a whole list of typed up upgrades that they can get for their ship, and I think they now have all of them, or almost all of them. I think they're missing a few, but yeah, they have a ton of upgrades. But right now, they got some. I think they got some extra hull armor, and some weighted sails so they can go a bit faster. And okay, last thing, what are you gonna call your ship? We'll put the ship's name on the front. And they hadn't thought about this at all. they were wondering, I don't know, what do we want to call it? And Aaron, who was playing Chikaleeku, he thought of the name the Queen's Gambit, which I at first thought was the most original and like cool name ever. But as it turns out, he stole that name from I think Arrow. I don't know. I don't watch Arrow. Or it might have been Archer. I don't know. They have such similar names. Have you noticed that? Archer and Arrow. And I don't watch either. I think it's from Arrow. Yeah, the guy in Arrow, his ship was called the Queen's Gambit. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So yeah, they named the ship the Queen's Gambit, and that's where this campaign's name comes from. The Chronicles of the Queen's Gambit. It's a story of the travels of the crew of the ship and her crew. So they report back to the king. They're like, okay, all right, we've pimped out our ride. So what do you want us to do? Their first mission is a hit mission. They are instructed to head out to the human country and take out a politician. Not a major politician, but one who is about to sign a bill that's going to land the dwarves in trouble. So they need to assassinate him and get rid of him because they're humans. You know, they can blend in easily in a human environment, whereas a dwarf probably couldn't. Not to say that a dwarf wouldn't be living there. In fact, it's really a very important thing if you're designing a town or settlement. Make sure like you include like the demographics of the town. So like the main city of the dwarven country, Delacour, it's like 85% dwarves and then 10% human, 5% human, 5% halfling, and then 5% other. It's very important. You don't want to have it all as just one race, unless it's like on like a plane of its own or something. That'd be cool. Anyway, so they head over to their ship and they sail out. They're heading for a town called New Falkrest, which, for people who play 4th edition, they know New Falkrest is based on a town called Falkrest. That's a sample town at the back of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Unoriginality aside, they land in New Falkrest. Then they tie up, and they have to go through customs to get inside. I'm like, oh crap, we don't really have identification papers at all. Okay, we're just gonna BS our way through this customs office and hope we're able to get in scot-free. So they go inside, and they sit down, and they're like, okay, next party, and they go up. Okay, well, they don't all go up. Here's what happens. I believe that Argun and Ensieo went up, and Chikaleeku stayed behind and sat down, because they had like some sort of plan to make Chikaleeku look like he wasn't with them because they trusted him the most. So like they goes like, okay, hi, name, Ensieo, the Great, and I'm Argun Brown. That was like the dumbest thing. Yeah, I'm Argun Brown. Okay, alright, Ensieo the Great, Argun Brown. And then I had to roll bluff checks. It was pretty easy. They passed him pretty well. Alright, is that your ship out there? The sail, like the Queen's Gambit? Yes, that's ours. Okay, great. Purpose of stay? And they look at each other like, oh crap. Leisure. Okay, vacation, alright. Yeah, there's a lot of tourist attractions here. Okay, and duration of stay? 2 days? 2 days? Alright, great. And, okay, can I see my identification? And then, they're like, okay, this is it, what do we do? And then, right at that moment, Chikaleeku, he knocked over a plate of scones that were sitting by the, like, in the waiting area. Like, he knocked over, like, there were scones. He knocked over, like, a plate of scones to cause a distraction. And, like, the 3 people in the customs office, like, the customs officer and, like, 2 guys who were waiting in line, they all just stared at him. It was like, Oh, sorry. He let me pick them up and like and then like he picks them up and then he puts two in his pocket. And then like the security officers that's in the customs office, he's like, those scones are for everyone. And so it's like, put one of those back right now. And there's just a whole ruckus being caused. And he's like, no. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? And so one thing happens to another, and long story short, the three party members are running out like into the town, and they're being pursued by the local watch force. So they did a skill challenge of like athletics, endurance, streetwise, and perception. And they hopped over stuff. They hopped to walls. They hid behind buildings and stuff. And they eventually lost the watch, but they had to lay low, so they put their hoods up and just kind of proceeded to the target. So the target, like on their little like mission like briefing paper that they had, the target was heading towards, or was on his way towards the bank, the first bank of Fallcrest, New Fallcrest, to do whatever bank business you had to do there. And so they went to the bank and they identified him. Like they were on the street. Okay, so imagine like there's a street, it's three-way intersection, T intersection. Like the bank is here, they're on this street, and then Mr. O'Hare, the guy they're going to assassinate, he was pulling up in his car, or his caravan, and it's getting out. It's like, okay guys, how do you want to do this? We haven't really planned this. We kind of spent all our time being chased by the watch. And so they decided that they would just go in the bank and do this in broad daylight in the open, and then just hide like they did before, because it worked out well last time. So, sorry, I'm feeling really drowsy today. I don't know why. So they go into the bank. They act natural, talking to others and whatnot, waiting in line. And the guy walks in. And so the plan was they would wait for him to get up to the teller, and then they would strike. But as soon as O'Hare walked in, Argun, he pulled out his bow and just whoosh, and he just shot him in the heart and he died immediately. And so, of course, that caused the entire bank, like someone to hit the panic button and set the alarm off in the bank. And they're like, oh crap, this has gone too bad too fast. So they run out the back door, like through some offices. They run out the back door. And again, they do the little crowd blend thing. But they try to. But they get out and like there are already like three watch caravans coming in. Like, oh crap, back in. And they were just chilling inside. As like there are all these terrified people, like either trying to run out or just trying to hide somewhere. And they're like, "Hey guys, we're in a bank. Why don't we just rob the bank?" Keep in mind, this is the first time they ever properly played D&D, myself included. So I didn't really see an issue with this. Okay, sure, yeah, rob the bank. Why not? So they hop over the teller desk into like towards the vault, and they crank it open, and like it opens up. He runs in. Ensieo runs in, grabs the cash, and it runs out. And then they're just hauling 3 big bags of gold on their back. And for anyone who's like ever worked with gold, or like even touched gold in life, or has ever been to a mint, where they had like the gold bar out for you to touch, those things are heavy. It is not easy to haul gold, no matter how big you are. So like they were walking through the streets of this, like you're trying to be covert, but eventually they had to drop the bags and just run for it back to their ship. Guys, they ran back to their ship. They got into their ship, and they sailed away. We're out of here. We did what we had to do. And on the way back, they realized, hey guys, you know what? That looked like it was just a failed bank robbery. It did not look like an assassination at all. And like, oh yeah, we did that good. That was good. That's what we planned to do. So, mission complete. They head back. Well done, gentlemen. We'll have an assignment for you shortly. Go into town, find a place to stay. We'll send you a letter when we need you. And that's it for this episode. I'll see you back next time on Tales from the Table.